We have a couple of members that are still racing here, and they are stuck in traffic, so we're going to wait just a couple more minutes before we get started, just to kind of give them a chance to get in here. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting of the Education Curriculum Subcommittee to order. Representative Howard, do you mind opening us in a word of prayer? What number are you? 10. Okay, thank you, sir.
Let us pray together. God, we thank you now for another day, and we thank you for this privilege of serving your people. Pray now for guidance, wisdom, and direction as we discuss the education of our children in the state of Georgia. Thank you for all that you've allowed us to accomplish today, even already in those moments that we have in front of us. It's in your son's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you, members of the committee, for being here. I know that some of y'all are missing other committee meetings. It seems like we're all double and triple dipping today. We only have one bill today. Thank you, members of the audience, for being here. We have Senate Bill 464. The original author is Clint Dixon, Senator Dixon, but Chairman Hickman is going to be presenting for him today because Senator Dixon is also in another committee meeting. He hasn't figured out how to clone himself yet. So, Chairman, if you can be at the podium or you can be at the table, whichever is most comfortable for you. And this is Senate Bill 464, and we have a sub today, so I have LC 500845S.
That's exactly what
Okay, so if you would like to go ahead, Chairman, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. And Senator Dixon regrets he's not here, but he'd asked me if I would be happy, and I am very happy to mention his bill, and he allowed me to put an amendment on his bill, and constantly, then we'll also talk about an amendment, another amendment to the bill. But let me tell you about his part of the bill, and this bill is called the School Supplies Senate Bill 464, School Supplies for Educators Program, and it really, I'm sure most of y'all, and I know the chairman is, former educator, and I'm married to a former educator and have two daughter-in-laws educators, and they spend a lot of money each year for supplies and all, and so it really gets ridiculous. But you know, that's the life that we have to live in. So this bill says for the last years the state has been funding a teacher supply stipend using emergency funds. those funds are going away, but we want the program to survive. So we're putting in the Georgia Code wording. There is no appropriation attached to this. It's just preserving the program moving forward. The program will be subject to appropriations like everything else. Everything is purchased, everything with this will be purchased online, and there are pre-approved vendors and suppliers to prevent fraud and abuse. So that's basically the very first part of Senator Dixon's, or that is his bill, Madam Chairman.
Okay.
So you want me to move on into the...
I'm going to exercise chairman's prerogative and say, as a former teacher, I spent hundreds of dollars every year on my classroom, and sometimes to my husband's chagrin, to our family budget when I was spending hundreds of dollars. But I think that this is a good program. Representative Carter, do you have a question about that section of the bill?
So are we piecemealing it, or are we discussing the whole bill?
We are going to discuss the whole bill. He just was discussing the original bill first.
Okay,
It was
'cause I
amend-
thought you read the amendment, that's what we were looking at.
No, ma'am. He gave us original SB 464 first, and then it was amended on, this was the original, and then he's going to cover the amendment that was made on the Senate floor that got put into a sub.
Okay, when you read what we were going over, I thought you read the LC number for the amendment. Did I mishear?
No. Yes, it's okay. So the amendment got drafted into a new sub.
No, I understand that.
Okay.
But what you read,
Yes, is
that
all
we
of
were
it put together.
reviewing is what's in front of me.
Yeah, all of it put together.
So now you're saying he was discussing the old one, and now we're gonna
Which
discuss
is-
the sub.
Which the original part of the bill is on page 3 of this.
Okay, so my question, are you saying now we're going to discuss the sub that you said we were reviewing? Because if so, I will wait.
Yes. Now we're
Okay.
going to discuss that the part that is actually the sub. Okay. Now we're on the same page.
I think we're getting closer to the end of days, and everybody's just kind of...
None of us.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you. In the sub, many of y'all know we've been working very hard along with Representative Ballard and Representative Irwin on literacy. We jumped on this last year very heavily, and we passed Senate Bill 211, which all y'all supported in the House. And we also passed House Bill 538, which Chairman Ballard supported. But so this amendment comes around the screeners, and the screeners are these these tests that we're giving the children to determine at what level they're able to read. So let me just kind of give you a little bit of history of this. And so the DOE identified 16 screeners, and then the Georgia Council on Literacy asked the Deal Center to evaluate those screeners. And so by doing that, they basically graded these screeners for us. And so that's it. So when you got 16 screeners or you got 13 screeners, we feel like there's no uniformity being able to look at a child in Bullock County that's using one type of screener, and a child that's in Chatham County a different screener, or a child in Forsyth County a different screener. So this bill basically said, well, we want one universal screener, and I'm going to change that in just a minute. We wanted one universal screener that all children in Georgia would use. Now, that screener would be the free screener. The one universal screener would be the free screener. Now, we know that we already have some school systems in Georgia that are using screeners that they bought, and they can keep doing that. They can keep, that's no problem at all. But our amendment originally, and it's going to be changed this second, our amendment originally said, hey, let's have something that we can look at all children across Georgia, and particularly if children are moving from one system to another. If you're using one screener, one system, and using another screener, another system, if that child moves, there's no way to compare the reading skills, so forth. So that's the background on it. We wanted some type of similarities between screeners. So this amendment remedies this problem by requiring all systems use the free screener, free of charge universal screener. System may use any other screener they want to. The ones they buy, and some of them have, okay? We know that Georgia DOE is developing a free screener. However, the screener will not be operational until August 1 of 24. The date that all school systems must begin screening students. I'm an accountant, I'm a CPA. We never develop our own software. We buy software. We buy software that's been tested. So why the DOE feels like they got to hire somebody to develop this screening software really doesn't make any sense to me. In fact, the company they've hired to develop the software is a company by the name of DRC, and it's our understanding DRC has not developed a screener in the past, zero. So we will not know the quality of that screener until really after August of 24. So there's some problems there with that. So to go back to Chairman Ballard, primary sponsor of 538 requires that the State Board of Education publish a list of qualified screeners. The board provided a list of 16 screeners in 2023. The Deal Center in Millersville, Georgia College State University, Deal Center conducted a psychometric analysis of these 16 screeners and reported to the council on October 23, the rankings. Of the 16 screeners, only 8 were found to meet the Deal Center's metrics for effectiveness. Okay, the 3 screeners did not even meet these standards. The state board on February 22nd dropped those 3 and now dropped it down to 13, which we feel like is still way too many. House Bill 538 requires the Georgia DOE to provide a free screener by August 1, the same date that the schools and districts must begin screening students. As y'all know, the governor put in the budget over $5 million in the budget we're working on right now that y'all have been so nice to pass to us in his recommended budget for the Georgia DOE to provide the free screener. So again, the schools will have the use of this free screener, even though we know a lot of schools have bought the universal screener, but the purpose of the free screener is for comparability. The free screener is not guaranteed to be available. The DOE screener is not guaranteed to be available until after August 1. Additionally, the screener being developed has not been evaluated for effectiveness. So when we started looking at this amendment, when we think about crossover, when we think about that, we actually, Chairman Irwin and Chairman Dupney and myself met with Superintendent Richard Woods back about 2 weeks ago and talked about this. And we never could get Superintendent Woods to agree to reduce the number of screeners. Even Chairman Irwin in the meeting that day made the comment, he said, I don't think we need any more than 5 screeners, you know. And even the Deal Center said out of the 16 that they looked at, 8 of them were ones that were used. So you see, we're trying to get these screeners down to comparability. So I met with our senators that were on the Literacy Council, and they all supported our amendment to the bill. And we believe that early estimates of the top 5 screeners analyzed by the Deal Center will produce a contract that is significantly less than the one being developed by the DRC, which is a company that the DOE hired. In fact, strangely enough, we looked around. North Carolina only has 1 screener because they're looking at it for comparability among school systems. So finally, 1 screener will allow us to know how districts and schools compare. North Carolina recently adopted 1 screener. So we provided an amendment. Madam Chairman, do you want me to talk about my amendment or the one that the amendment that we had drafted this morning?
Let's go. We only have this room for 10 more minutes.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and talk about the amended amendment, I guess we'll call it.
Okay. This is right off this. Let me just read to you. This is the proposal. So we have agreed to move from the 1 free screener.
Excuse me. We're on LC 500845S.
So this is the amended amendment?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So this is what we did. Said and I'm gonna just read to you out of the, by May 15th, 2024, the board, and that's the state board, the board shall approve the memorandum of agreement between the council and the department as provided for in paragraph B of paragraph C of the subsection for a list of no more than 5 universal reading screeners as suggested by Chairman Irwin. 5 universal reading screeners, one of which shall be free universal reading screener for use by public schools and local school systems as part of their comprehensive literacy programs, which will meet the following criteria. I'm sorry, I'm on page 2, just finished line 34, starting on line 35. By June 1, 2024, the department shall publish on its public website the free universal reading screener and the list of other approved universal reading screeners, one of which each public school and local school system shall adopt and administer in order to comply with the requirements of subsection D3C of this code section. The council, and that's the Georgia Council on Literacy, in collaboration with the center, and that's the Deal Center, and the Office of Planning and Budget, shall identify a free universal reading screener that meets the criteria established by the board as provided in subparagraph B of paragraph 3 of this subsection. The council shall enter into a memorandum of agreement with the department to make such universal reading screener available for use free of charge to public schools and local school systems. So we have identified in this amendment that the Deal Center will recommend 5 screeners that will be on the list of the free screeners, So that concludes it, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And we do have a few questions. Representative Howard.
Well, maybe you may, thank you for the bill.
Yes, sir.
For the discussion. Thank you, Madam Chairman. But I was just trying to get clarity on,
Yes,
on the screen idea. So will there be a 1 free screener or will there be 5 free screeners?
They will only use one of the 5. There'll be 5 identified that they can use as a free screener, and they'll pick one of those 5.
So each system will choose one of the 5?
That's correct, sir. That's correct, sir.
Okay.
That's correct. And that's provided, the money for that is provided in the budget.
Okay.
Okay, Representative Adana.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
So I have a couple of concerns. One is the time frame. Are we sure we can, in terms of selecting the screeners, and then we're looking further down, I think it's August, that we'll actually try to implement it. My background is IT program management. And when you're implementing anything at all, a new system in place, you need time to do proof of concept, you need time to, I think the biggest part is training. So my concern comes around why the June 1, 2024 date, why the August date in terms of implementation. Why can't we look at a wholesome, to really be successful, we really need to look at a wholesome time frame. So I would expect we have a proof of concept before we even select the screeners. I would think that it would be more strategic to select the screeners, and then you have the different categories where we're measuring them by to select them. We should be able to, based on the proof of concept, be able to measure them and then make the selection. So my question would be, why the rush timeline? Can we look at an alternative?
Representative Adana, the August 1 date was in the original House Bill 538 from last year. That was unanimous in the House and almost unanimous in the Senate. So that's where that original August date came from.
Yeah.
And the Deal Center has been looking at all of these screening assessments. So the reason why I believe it, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Chairman, the reason why it got backed up to June was so, in fact, that the schools and the teachers would have time to look at it before they are asked to implement it in August. So the DOE was going to roll out the screener on August 1, and the teachers were going to have to start using it on August 1.
Yeah, but my understanding is DRC has not built a screener before, right?
That is correct, and that's
So-
why we're allowing others.
Yeah.
So DRC is still one of the 5? Was DRC?
That will be up to the Literacy Council and the Deal Center and the state board.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And can I mention one thing? I did talk to Chairman of the Board of State Board of Education this morning, Mr. Stan Jarnett, and he told me he felt like there was no problem with the dates. The dates that you had questioned, Chairman of the Board said he felt like there was no problem with the dates. Rolling it out.
Okay. Representative Carter.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
My first question, will we hear from DOE today? Is anyone from DOE going to speak?
They are
today?
not signed up, but we
Okay.
could, of course, hear from them if we have time. We got about 5 more minutes.
Gotcha. Okay, so in your presentation, if I heard correctly, the whole purpose of this bill was so that there would be a universal screening opportunity, which I understand my colleague's point would be in that we want to make sure it's something that works. But the amendment now is we're going to have multiple. Then how will we then be able to, and I'm not advocating either way, I'm just trying to understand because I feel like I'm rushed.
And I think I can answer that question.
Yeah.
I haven't finished asking it.
Please.
So you started out with the whole purpose of the bill, and as an accountant, I kind of
Right.
get stuck on 1 plus
Yes,
1
ma'am.
equals 2. But now you're going to do multiple, but now you won't be addressing the original purpose of bringing this bill. So yes, please help me understand that.
So ideally, in the ideal world, there would be just one screener that every child would take that assessment and we could get really good apples to apples comparisons. That is the ideal world. And I think that we don't live in the ideal world. And there are lots of school districts that are doing very well, that are using, they've been using a screener assessment for a while. They're doing well with it. And so this is just going to offer our school districts a little bit more flexibility in their choice of screeners. But with the input from the Deal Center and their ranking system, what will be chosen are screening assessments that are very, very similar to each other that we could still get really good data from.
Okay, so then now what we're doing is taking away local control, because if I heard you in your original presentation, the school systems kind of chose their own screeners, and I did hear you say that some of these screeners, they probably should not have chosen them. But what we're going to do is reduce the opportunity of the schools to choose what they feel like, the district to choose what they feel like is best for them. Is that what
Originally,
we're
they
doing?
were just going to be having to use the one. Now we're going to let them choose from a list.
Well, actually, originally, they have, I think y'all said 18. The amendment is not original, we're in the amendment.
Well, the original 538 was just that schools would use a screener as chosen by the department. But then the department did not do a lot of the evaluations of the screeners. They just basically said, if you got a screener, come on. And then the Deal Center has gone and done the evaluations of the screeners. They've ranked some strong, some moderate, and some weak. So this means that since we have new data as regarding those screening assessments, we do have to limit that number maybe just a little bit in the interest of making sure our school children are assessed with good quality assessments that measure what we need them to measure.
Okay, and then I think the other thing in this bill, because you said the department, you were referencing the Department of Education, the state school education. So now are we removing them, the department out of the equation, and then the Deal Center is making this determination?
It will be a memorandum of understanding, is that correct? With all of our education literacy partners.
So, okay, so where is that? So, but DOE will not be the ultimate responsibility for this, is that what we're saying? For managing this process?
No, ma'am, the agreement, the decision will be made by OPB, who provides the funding, the deal center, who looks at the screener, who evaluates the screeners, and then a Georgia Council on Literacy.
Where's Department of Education in this?
They're not
equation?
involved in this. You may not have heard me say this, but I've said this so many times through this literacy thing, and Madam Chairman, I've worked so hard on literacy, is that one of the words that I have learned to hate through this whole process is local control. Because what we've learned is, when we look back in 2010, our children in Georgia were reading on a higher grade level in 2010 than they were in 2019 prior to the pandemic. And all of a sudden, and our superintendents and our people knew that, so they let it go down. So they didn't let it go down; the children went down. But so we feel like that we need an objective group of people to come in and decide what the five. They're going to recommend 5 screeners, and then the school system can choose one of those 5. So it's not like we mandate and they use just this one. They can use one of 5.
Okay. Chairman Chokas.
Yes, at the appropriate time.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
We have 3 people who have asked to speak to the bill, so we're going to let them have a minute or 2 each. Dr. Claire Buck from the Georgia Association of Curriculum and Instructional Supervisors, and I can tell you are an educator because I did not struggle having to read your penmanship.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am Claire Buck, and I am the Executive Director for the Georgia Association of Curriculum and Instructional Supervisors. We are one of the 7 affiliates under the GALE umbrella with about 1,300 members. And so I'm here today to represent our organization, and we do advocate for local control and local decision-making with curriculum and instructional decisions. We have districts across the state that have spent a lot of time this past year selecting a screener, providing training on the screener, the analysis of the results, and selecting the appropriate interventions. They feel like they're doing very well, and they're very far on the road to implementing the requirements in House Bill 538. I've also gotten feedback from a lot of our districts, at least 75 in the past few days, giving their thoughts. And one of the things that I did want to share is that they think that House Bill 538 is one of the best pieces of legislation that they have ever seen. And they don't want to see it be convoluted with additional requirements that are put on the district. Our districts are committed to improving literacy, and we want to see more of a focus on the outcome rather than the input in being the universal screener. So I had a lot more to say, and I had a lot more feedback to share with you, and I'm happy to talk with you offline, but I respect the timeline that we have.
Thank you so much. Josh Stevens from Page.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was not an educator, as you can see by my handwriting there, so I apologize for that ahead of time. My wife lets me know about it every day. So I'm here to speak on 2 different parts of this bill. First part is on the School Supplies Act. We support that section of this bill and appreciate Chairman Dixon bringing that forward. As Chairlady Ballard said, teachers are often spending hundreds of dollars out of their own pocket. So any way that we can create a system and then create a system that helps them with school supplies is going to be helpful. I have a few more stats about that I was going to share, but I can share that with you all offline. And then on the literacy part, we want to thank Chairman Hickman and Chairman Ballard for having conversation with us, with my colleague Margaret, and really just wanted to share a survey result that we took on our legislative survey that we do each year. So on last year's survey, we asked specifically about implementation of House Bill 538, and 56% of the teachers surveyed said they do not have concerns about the bill. And so the way that we read that is that it's important to maintain the buy-in of educators throughout this entire process. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And I love that our teachers are excited about 538. I think that's a really good thing. Steve Tippins?
Thank you. Your Honor, if it pleases the committee, Steve Tippins with McGuire Woods. For the interest of time, we'll simply say that we appreciate Chairman Hickman's efforts on literacy and the Madam Chairs. We would urge this committee to bound 464 up to the standing committee and point out that the teacher stipend supply program is the sort of legacy legislation that will really help teachers, administrators, paraprofessionals, parents, and students for generations to come, long after we have all stopped coming down here to the Capitol. So we urge your support. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. Representative Carter.
Thank you. I think we for me got our focus with this amendment and started talking about screeners, but the original, I guess, bill and the part of the bill that's still here that supports the funding. I mean, I don't know if we find anyone, except for maybe one person, that would vote no on something like this, but where we complicate good legislation is when we add stuff that probably needed a little more time. If we were going to move forward or move an amendment, I'd be willing to for amendment to go back to the original where we just addressed the funding for the supplies, and then I think we need to flesh out this other part with the screeners. And thank you for the reminder. We just passed the legislation last year, and if we all remember, we didn't add any funding. So if the school districts chose something that was subpar, it was probably because we didn't provide the funding. So I don't know if maybe we give this a little more time to figure it out, but I wouldn't want the really good piece of this legislation to get lost in something that has become appearingly kind of hyper political that, you know, we could probably figure out, but definitely we need to support our school, our teachers with funding for the supplies.
Yeah, we're not amending that. This is what passed out of the Senate. So, like, this whole thing passed out. Yes.
But I don't know why y'all handed me the other one.
Okay.
You're saying that the House does not amend bills that come up from the Senate?
You can do an amendment when we get to that point.
Okay.
If you would like
I just wanted.
I wasn't on my sign-up sheet, but Matt Cardoza from DOE is here and would like to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just in response to a couple of the questions, one to mention about the process itself. So going back to 538, there were minimum requirements set forth in that bill, which of course we went through the procurement process that we go through for many various things. That's how the list originally came. The Deal Center, of course, did a great evaluation of all of those after the fact, which is how we got to the number we're at now. The flexibility that's mentioned in the amendment, I just want to point out that would require that one universal screener to meet some of the code requirements of report out. So if they use some of the screeners that they're pleased with already, they would have to use more than one. Just want to make sure that part's clear. And also, in talking with our assessment director, who's been working with DRC, and DRC, by the way, is the company that does Georgia Milestones, so it's a test screener, if you will, that we've been using for many years. We're going to be doing trainings over the summer with that. We've had over 22,000 field tests already, so the training would be ready to go over the summer, ready for that in August. So just wanted to make those points. Thank you.
Thank you so much. 25, is that Representative Maynard? And we are 10 minutes over our time, and we have another committee meeting in this room, so we need to be very timely.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for bringing the bill, Chairman Hickman. Since this is an evolution of
Yeah.
Since this is being reiterated that I need to move fast, I see that Scott Johnson from the Literacy Council is here. He is not necessarily spoken up, and he didn't ask me to speak up, but I would like to hear what his opinion is, since he has been working on the implementation
Thank you.
of this to give the body further clarity. if
Chairman, would you
possible.
like to step up?
Madam Chair, I'll be very brief in the interest of time. We need as I have advised members of the legislature, House and Senate, repeatedly at their request, we need screeners that are proven, tested. They're available now, and we need them on a timely basis before there is non-compliance with the law that was passed last year. That's what I'll say.
Okay, thank you. So, Chairman Chokus, I'm going to call on you again.
Thank
It's
you.
the appropriate time.
Yes, ma'am. And I want to make sure that I do it parliamentary correct. We're moving on the substitute, is that correct?
Yes, the substitute.
Okay. I move that substitute for SB 464 LC 500845S receive the due pass designation.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Okay, I see there is discussion, so Representative, I almost called you Senator Carter. Representative Carter, do you have an amendment?
I do.
Okay.
I'd like to move that we strike section 1 of SB 464 LC 500845S and leave intact section 2, the School Supplies Educators Act.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have a motion to strike section 1. We have a second on that. And we would also have to adjust the language in the summary, just to, do all the things. Is there any discussion on this amendment? Who's 10? Representative Howard.
No.
You waive. Okay. Representative Maynor.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So the discussion is just that if we strike section 10, then the schools will be out of compliance because they don't readily have all of the available screeners at this moment.
That's kind of the worry. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Representative Carter.
Please, if someone could verify if that's a true statement, because I understood that they have screeners, some y'all, that there's like 18 different screeners. Are you saying that there are school districts now that do not have screeners, and reminding that we did not fund it? Glad there's money in the budget now.
There are my understanding is there are school districts that bought their own screeners, and they're using those. So this bill, this bill does not keep them from continuing to use those screeners.
Gotcha.
This bill only says you can still use those screeners, but we want some type of comparability across the state. So you may be using, instead of using the best screener in the state, they may be using number 13 screener.
I understand it, but they are not out of compliance with the law that passed last year if they have screeners.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so all those in favor of Representative Carter's amendment, please say aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay, I think we're gonna do a hand count on that because I could not tell. So if you are in favor, please raise your hand and keep it up so that we can count. Okay, no, raise your hand, keep them up. Okay, so the amendment fails. So there is a motion and a second on SB 464. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Do we need to do a hand? Okay. So that you are on to full. I think it was the same, but we can do it. Okay, if you want to pass this bill, raise your hand. Okay, no. Okay, so 464 passes. You are on to full committee.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Okay,
Thank
and-
you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And ma'am, I'm open for any side talk you want to have with me. I'd be tickled to death to spend some time with you on it. Okay, thank you. And gentlemen, y'all.
Okay, 2 minutes, and we're going to start policy. Sorry, we're running behind. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna swap chairs with you, and then you're gonna leave this meeting.
And then I will swap back?
Yeah, we'll swap.
Okay. I'm leaving my purse under your feet. Oh, my gosh. Oh. I'm gonna. I know what legislation we're gonna have.
Good morning, everyone. If you go ahead and start to find your seats, we will begin to convene. Or just keep talking amongst yourselves, whatever. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Education Policy Subcommittee. We'll start our meeting as we start every meeting in Policy Subcommittee. Do we have any students in the room this morning? No students. Oh, hey, there he is. All right, give him a round of applause, students. Do we have any teachers in attendance with us? Didn't we have one teacher? Teachers? All right, no teachers. That's fine. All right. Representative Wilkerson, would you open us up in prayer? What number are you? Number one, yeah.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us safely here today. We pray that we listen to all the viewpoints as we always do, and that we do the work that is in the best interest of the state of Georgia. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Representative. We have one bill to hear in committee today, and the senator may be joining us here in a few minutes. I'm going to go ahead and move down to the main chair as the House sponsor of the legislation and present the bill. I'll cede my chair to Chairwoman Ballard, and we'll be presenting Senate Bill 32, which we heard in committee, I believe it was last week. So I'm going to do a quick switcheroo and be right on here.
Okay, and when you get down there, give us your LC number, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am working from LC 491867S.
Very good.
Let me get my stuff organized here. So as the father of 3 young kids, school safety is important to me, and I know it's important to all of y'all, and it's important to our chairman. We hear him talk about it all the time, the 3 priorities being literacy, good policy, and school safety. And so that's why Alyssa's Law spoke to me and why I kind of raised my hand to sponsor on the House side. We've now had the unfortunate opportunity to study incidents across the country and what is kind of a best response to it. And out of those tragedies has come Alyssa's Law, which has been passed in a number of states from New Jersey to Florida to Tennessee to Texas and Oregon and is under consideration right now. And what the bill does is it simply creates a program that allows school staff, personnel, support services to simultaneously contact each other and 911 services in the event of an emergency. And this can range from something as simple as an injury at a sporting event to a tragedy as much as a school shooting. And so we vetted this in subcommittee, and there was some questions that the GMA had. We have since met with them. They have offered us some language that I will offer as an amendment or ask the committee to offer as an amendment. And that language can be found in page 2. On the dates in our subcommittee last week, we moved out the date. There's 4 dates in the bill. We moved those out a year. The amendment would move those out an additional year. So on 18, that would now become 26. On 30, that would be 25. 33 would be 25. And 40 would be 26. I can run through those one more time. What was the third one? So let me start. 18 would be 2026. 30 would be 2025. 33 would be 2025. And 40 would be 2026. And this gives our emergency support staff time to get this implemented, almost 2 years at this point to get that up and running. I think that's kind of a fair compromise there. And then we've been asked to add language on line 23, which would read, starting with line 22, shall integrate with, and then on line 23, we'd insert existing technology found in each, and then local public safety answering point infrastructure. Yeah, so it'll start with, so right now, starting with Alyssa's alert and shall integrate with, and the new language will be existing technology found in each, and then it continues with local public safety. So just clarifying, integrating with the technology they've already got in place. And that's the wording we've gotten from GMA. Chairwoman, I don't know if they've signed up to speak. Obviously, they're welcome to make a comment in subcommittee if they'd like. But I'll pause for any questions from the committee.
Okay, I don't have the sign-up sheet in front of me yet, but no one signed up. Okay. Representative Evans, are you two?
Thank you, Chairwoman. Thank you, Chairman, for speaking on this bill.
Yeah.
So I'm supportive of this bill, and I like that we pushed the dates back and that y'all worked with GMA. But we did hear something about it being an unfunded mandate. Are GMA's concerns addressed by that, by pushing these dates back to give them time, or are we still? That would be a concern for me if it's an unfunded mandate. Can you talk about that?
It would me too. I shared last time the story of Gwinnett, and I think that is kind of a local issue. As us as constituents, we all believe and pay our taxes and rely on 911 to be well funded and be responsive. And it's surprising and frankly shocking to me sometimes that it's maybe not. I mean, they're funded, but they're facing challenges that any industry is right now, and hopefully those subside with higher wages, inflation, et cetera, and they're just kind of caught in the lurch like a lot of businesses are. So, my priority is school safety, and I feel like when a school or any entity reaches out to 911, they're not thinking about funding or they just want a response. But yes, short answer is I believe by moving out the dates, that gives them flexibility to figure out both funding and capability of setting this up.
Representative Wilkerson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And unfortunately, I wish GMA was here because it seemed like they raised a number of concerns besides dates and the coordination, et cetera. And even with the 911 system, say, I'm going to go back to McEachern, the example we both used the other day, is that it is right next to Powder Springs, and you had a number of different people showing up, and I don't see where the author made any attempt to kind of say we have to integrate this with our school safety plan. So again, we still have the problem where we have a school safety plan, but we're putting something on the side, and that we may again have multiple law agencies showing up, and so I'm concerned about it not being addressed. The second thing is the 911 systems. Even I'm thinking about Powder Springs. They're switching to Cobb County, so I guess is there an occasional update they have to do if you switch 911 systems? Who's managing it and making sure those integrate with each other. I'm just not sure if we've thought through everything, and that's why, unfortunately, I wish GMA was here so we could ask that, because
I think I'll pause you for a second. I believe they are in
is
the
GMA here?
room.
So
Yes.
are you? Oh, there you go. I can't see you back there. Are you okay with this bill now? That's the easiest question, I guess, to ask. Are you okay? There's I oppose, I don't oppose, and I support. Where are you?
I support. Why I would say I support is the timeline that we've been given. We're also working with other members of the House right now on a bill that could fund 911 centers specifically to give them the potential to integrate this technology. And by pushing this date back, it's going to give us some leverage and some time to ensure we're able to not provide an unfunded mandate, but provide technologies. I agree with you, ma'am. If we're going to ask somebody to do something, we should also have some skin in the game and allow them to have the funding. So I do support this. These were our recommendations, and so we do support the bills.
Last question, if you don't mind, Madam Chair. Does this resolve my concerns about all the different agencies showing up and not being integrated in the security plan?
So I think it doesn't resolve on this bill here will be added to our rollout of the school safety plan. That it does include technologies. Once this law is created, we will add that to our school safety plan, requiring that in schools, because it's going to be part of the requirement. We're going to be part of the notifying agencies. Going back to your point of Does it solve the 911 problem? No, sir, but it's a twofold, and you and I have spoken a few times about this. We want to be more ready and responsive when we do have an incident, but we don't ever want to stop law enforcement from showing up. So we want those agencies, we want all hands on deck if we have an incident like what happened at McEachern, but we just do need a little more orchestration, and so we're working very hard on our side inside the school safety plan to make sure we lay out a little better procedurally how that's going. Something we're also working with is to ensure that our safety plan is the only safety plan that a school can use. Right now, as long as they have a school safety plan, we just have to get a copy of it. So something else that we're working with that we didn't get in maybe as defined as we should is ensuring that it's our safety plan, and that's the only one that is recognized.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any further questions from the committee? Okay, I don't see one. Representative Wade, sorry.
At the appropriate time.
Okay. So we have a motion, do pass, and a second? Do we have a quorum? Yes. Three is the quorum for a subcommittee in education. Okay, do we have a second? Yes. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Are you,
So, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to do an amendment as Mr. Hilton has.
oh, sorry.
If it's okay, I'll make a motion. I'll make.
Oh, sorry, I'd had your number wrong, sorry.
That's okay. If the sponsor is okay with this, or representing the sponsor, that I'd make a motion to adopt an amendment, friendly amendment, to change the dates, I believe, if I've got it correct, on line 18, 2026 instead of 2025. On line 22, after the word with, before the word local, existing technology found in each. On line, it's 29 on mine, so I'm not sure if it's 29 or 30 on yours, but
30, yeah.
24 to change to 2025. Line 32, I think, 2024 to 2025. And then on line 39, 2026 instead of 2025.
Okay, so we have a motion to accept these amendments. Do we have a second? Okay. So all those in favor of accepting these amendments, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Like sign. Okay, so the amendment passes. Okay, so now we have a motion and a second to vote on the bill as a whole. So all those in favor say aye. Opposed, like sign. Okay, bill passes.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam
Let
Chair.
Senator Anna Vittardi know he's all on to full. Thank you, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.